Can you please talk about what awakening really is? Basic question, sorry. I'm not aware of any real wow moments, but I love feeling your energy. I feel and love this talks of yours, understand them mentally, but I rather just spent time in your presence. Am I missing something when people describe these great states of bliss and joy? Thanks, Lisa. I admire you. Thanks, Chris. Bliss and joy are a side effect of what happens when this realization happens. So I would say that I have a lot of bliss and joy, but I can also have sadness, frustration, anger, annoyance. I can have all types of human feelings because I'm on the human level. I'm human, and you know, if I walk into the door repetitively and it keeps shutting in my face, then frustration or anger can arise, and then I stop that happening, or whatever reason that can arise. But from this awakening, there can be lots of bliss and joy as well. What awakening is the realization. It's an energetic shift. To me, there was mental realization, then there was this energetic shift, and then this energetic shift took over. And it basically is that before I was experiencing as a separate person, and then I was experiencing as everything. But the humans can carry on the same. There can be a big shift in the human, on the human level, and but that will look different in everyone. It doesn't belong to anyone. And it doesn't mean getting over all your traumas. I can still have traumas come up about things and be upset about things, but they're no longer belonging to anyone, so they pass through. So I can have like a full-blown tantrum release of energy very quickly because there's nobody that's holding on to it. But I can also be very human. I can get involved in arguments and want to convince someone that they're wrong and I'm right. I can be very human. I can get upset about something. But I do know also that on the human level it did change a lot for me, and I became a lot more like what I was like as a child. And I did become a lot happier on the human level, and I experienced a lot more bliss and joy and openness and a lot more pleasant feelings. But I do still have issues come up on the human level, but none of it belongs to anyone anymore. Like, who's looking right now? And in some traditions they speak that you totally get over all your issues on the human level, so you can get to a point where the human has, they'd call it no karma or no traumas coming up, but that's not of my experience, so I can't speak about that. I feel that will carry on always will as a human body, because you're going to have interactions with other humans. You're going to have your particular way of seeing things because you've got a brain that's been conditioned, and you're going to have particular responses, and you're going to get new traumas. But I'm always open to all of that totally disappearing and just being a bliss body that always experiences bliss all the time. But from my experience, it's that the human still has its issues and still has its quirks and ways of being. But there's a freedom that's right in the center of being human that's always here. And the reason I always point out my own issues is firstly because it's for me. I do it because I don't want to in any way convince anyone of anything that I'm better or I'm this perfect being, because that doesn't feel right in my heart. So I do it for me predominantly. It feels right to be as honest and accurate as I can. And then secondly, the reason I do it is because I don't think it's so important to focus on becoming a super balanced person that's emotionally released everything. I think that you have to give up on that a bit. You do it to an extent, but then you have to give up on it and sort of embrace your quirk abilities. And it's kind of in the middle of all of that the freedom is. But I do feel like you can work on your human stuff when it gets really intense, but I feel like that's a lifetime endeavor where you've got these machines, because these machines are going to always pick up bizarre conditioning, to me. But it might also be that I'm not as realized as other people that claim to have nothing, but it also could be that they're different personality types. Like maybe a teacher that's had this realization, this awakening, has maybe like a more narcissistic personality type, or a personality that doesn't have so much empathy, and therefore if it's a narcissistic one, then it's not going to want to admit any of its defaults. It might not even notice any of its defaults. It might only report positive things about itself all the time. So it's like, who knows? From my experience, The human Lisa still has traumas and issues, and I can still get upset, angry, all these types of feelings. But in all of it, there's a freedom. There's this expanded childlike freedom. So even in my anger and my tantrums, they're quite immediate, like a child. Although I'm also quite mature, so like if I think the other person can take it, then I will be more like a child, like I'll just say it as it is. But if I'm realize that they don't have that ability and they'll take it really personally, then I wouldn't do it because I couldn't be bothered to get into it with them. But if I think that they're open enough to just allow me to be as I am without too much backlash, then I just will be like it. And if I suddenly get angry, I'll be like, nah, 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 nah. But as long as they can do it too, like not so they're really shocked by it or really don't get it, because some people don't get that. Some people think that you have to speak like this all the time and have a smile, and when they're like that, then they can't take the way other people are. They think that other people always have to be like this and can never be like boo. They always have to remain like this and speak really peacefully and have big eyes. And if you have any variation on that, then that surely means that you are not enlightened or not free. And if you have that opinion, then you need other people to be like that too. And you don't have an openness to that anything's possible. Like I see that as a really contracted mentality, like a really judgmental and contracted mentality. I see as when anything is possible and anything can happen, I see that as the correct way of seeing things. I think it's bad to just try to create a society that represses any negative emotion. I think this is what our society already currently does, and I don't think it works. I think that we are animals and we have lots of different feelings, and there has to be some sort of understanding where we have the ability to allow people around us to express those sorts of things without taking it too personally. That's my way of seeing it.